The Indian farmer and opium production. A taste for tea, the trade with China. In the late 18th century, Chinese tea became very popular in England, but importing tea was not profitable to East India Company as there was no product to sell back to China. Manchus, the Confucian rulers of China, never allowed entry of foreign merchants into China to prevent them from meddling in local politics. The English merchants had to pay in silver or bullions to buy tea from China. It was a huge drain on the nation's treasury. The English merchants finally zeroed in on opium. Aware of opium addiction, the Chinese emperor had restricted its use for medicinal purposes only. In the mid-18th century, Western merchants illegally began opium trade with Chinese merchants. Years later, while the English enjoyed Chinese tea, the Chinese became addicted to opium. Where did opium come from? Britain's illegal opium trade with China was booming. To increase opium supplies, the Indian farmers were forced to grow opium. Indian cultivators resisted growing opium firstly because opium had to be grown on the best fields meant for pulses. Growing opium meant either not cultivating pulses or cultivating them in inferior lands. Secondly, cultivators had to lease land from landlords for a very high rent. Thirdly, growing opium demanded long hours for nurturing. They could not spare time to grow other crops. Lastly, the government price to buy opium from cultivators was too low. It made growing opium an unprofitable affair.